Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, y'all? Welcome to What You Say Poet. I'm your girl, JRose. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm super hyped to introduce to you to tonight's guest. He was actually supposed to be a guest on the JRose Experience Season 2 ATL edition, but some schedule situation happened and he couldn't make it to that, but I had to make sure that he got some time to shine on this platform because he's an amazing creative person, poet, leader in the creative community, doing the damn thing out in ATL. So please give a warm welcome to Bo Ward.
Yo, hey. What's good,
I gotta
Jay?
get my sound effects.
What's good?
How are you? Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm so honored. Reading your bio, I was like, oh my God, we can talk. I could probably talk to you for hours. But before I start digging into all the amazing things about Bo Ward, can you please just tell the audience a little bit about you, what you got going on?
Oh man, I am first. Let me say that it's me who is actually honored to be here because, like you said, I was supposed to be a part of the JRose Experience. Had a little illness, could not make it, and the biggest thing to me, Jay, was you like, well, we could do something viral. I'm like, well, I don't know how we're gonna do that. So that meant a lot to me. Like, whoa, wait a minute, she really wants to interview the kid. So that means the kid has arrived. I've arrived, man. People. JRose is like, yo, let's go, bro. What you doing? We're gonna get you on this thing one way or another. So yeah, I am truly honored to be here, man. This is indeed an honor to me, for me. I'm just a country boy from a small town in Georgia called Indian Springs. Man, it's like a speck on the map. It's a little bitty spot on the map, yo. And I'm just trying to make a footprint somewhere so people will remember me in some kind of way and say, hey, I remember that dude, that little country dude. He's from that little bitty town. So actually, and I'm not going to do the piece because I wrote it like 4 or 5 years ago, and didn't remember. I know that's crazy for a poet, but at that time, I was like really writing a lot.
Yes.
But I wrote a piece called Speck, and the reason I wrote Speck because I'm from a little small town, and it's a speck on the map. It's a speck on the map of Georgia. So I know it's a speck in the U.S. I know it's a speck when it comes to the world. But when you take the word spec, S-P-E-C, it's the first 4 letters in special and spectacular. So that's what I put in there, and that's why I wrote it, because a lot of times, Jay, oh, wait a minute, you told me to tell something about myself. I'm sorry. I'm going too far. No. No, I got to stick to the script. I don't want to get kicked off the show. I want to make sure I stay on the show this evening. Yeah, I want to abide by the rules. Let me make sure I abide by the rules, right?
The rules are organic conversation. That's what this is about. So we flow. Tell me about your
okay, got it. I'm a spec, man. I'm a little country boy. And right now I actually host an online radio show called Beautiful Soul Cafe.
Yes.
It is for poets and neo soul artists and even comedians to come on to be able to express themselves. And I like to tell people it's a sanctuary. It's that place where poets and neo soul artists can come and just express themselves freely and openly. Like people say, well, am I able to curse? Am I able to do this? It's wide open.
Inside
the cafe,
I love that.
Open.
I hate when they tell me, when they invite me to come perform and they're like, you can't curse. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to say then?
Right. Nah, it's yeah, the cafe is wide open, man. It's a beautiful place. I love the vibe. I've had some of the dopest poets come through, some iconic poets come through, from Georgia Mean to Red Storm to Abyss Sincere has been on there.
Yes. Oh, sincere.
Red Tiffany has been
Let me
on.
tell you,
Yeah,
that man right
yeah,
there, like he walks into
indeed.
a room and you are just immediately drawn to his energy. He's such
Right,
an amazing soul. Like I literally was like so smitten by him. Like he just, I was like, will you be my mentor? Like please, because he's
right, right.
crazy. So you're from this little speck of a town in Georgia, and I find it like interesting. Like, how did poetry find its way to this speck? Because usually in small towns like that,
Right,
there's no like real poetry scene like that. You
right,
know what I
right.
mean? So how did you find poetry in such a small town? And did people like embrace that when they saw that you were doing that?
Uh, I started out, man. I wanted to be a rapper when I was like 12. I used
What?
to write, yeah, I used to write raps like
What?
back when. See, this is way before your time, right? But you're from New York, so I know you've heard about it, like Houdini,
Of
the
course.
Fat Boys, when LL first hit the scene. Those people right there were like, oh, okay, that's my okay. Let's roll. So I started out wanting to be a rapper. Of course, that kind of fizzled out because being from a small town, the thing that they tell you in the small town is, son, you grow up, you work hard, you save your money, you retire, and you die. I mean, I know that sounds crazy,
That sounds
but that's
boring.
the mentality, right? But that's the mentality.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a rapper, and after I graduated from high school, that kind of died out. It stopped. Um, And my daughter, I went to an event. My daughter was doing poetry recite, and I
Oh,
went to this competition, and she had to remember a uh, Maya Angelou piece. I cannot remember the name. I don't know which one it was,
yeah.
but she did it. And my daughter's just like me. Well, my youngest daughter actually. She's a real um, strong competitor, and
Mm,
she she didn't win. She didn't even place, and it crushed her. So
yeah.
as I'm sitting there. She gets in between my legs. She gets on my lap, and she starts to cry.
Oh,
So it didn't get me until she laid her head on my shoulder. I'm like, I'm Superman. I can't. I gotta be strong, but at the same time, dang, I'm about to cry. You know. So I went home and wrote a piece about it, and that kind of started me back into it. And then I stopped again, and then I met my wife. And when I met my wife, I started writing poetry again.
love will
Wrote
do
something
that.
for her.
Love will.
And it will, man. Love is so crazy, man. I don't know I'm like, man, love, what you doing around here? What the are you doing? So I started back writing, and I was putting it on Facebook, and people were like, hey, man, you should put that, you should publish that. So
Yeah,
that's how my first book came up.
yeah.
Um,
So you have
started
you
to
have
open,
more than one book though. You have what, 3 or 4 books out, right?
right. I have 2 books of poetry,
Yes.
and I have a non-poetic book written by a poet, which is an inspirational and motivational book called "Beautiful Me."
Oh,
So
I love that.
yeah,
Now, you being in love and going back into your poetry, is that what
right.
got you to start the Black Love Poetry showcase that you do?
Well, the Black Love Poetry Series is actually a network that was started by Akil Ali and April Armstrong.
Okay.
So I had a radio show here um, that I did in an actual studio with another network. Things didn't work out. I showcased April, and she remembered that. So when she had her online show, she actually invited me to do an interview. So from that, the two of them got together and was like, "Whoa, let's get this brother. We about to start our own network. Let's get him
Oh,
and let him do his own show." So that's how I came to the Black Love Poetry Series Network, was in that way. But yeah, now back to that first question. I did an open mic in my hometown.
Oh, you
They,
did?
I had an open mic show. They did not. They were not ready for open mic. They're not ready for poetry.
Really?
Because
What was the response? Did like nobody want to go, or did?
people, I had more people coming from, and it's like a 50-minute drive from
Oh
Atlanta to
wow!
where I am. But I had poets come. Believe it or not, I had Sincere coming. Milk was coming. Ken Warner, Fitzgerald the poet.
Yes,
Um, yeah,
they.
those people were coming on a regular basis
Yes.
and like supporting me. But people in my own hometown, I couldn't get them there because I think people look at poetry and they think of the movie Love Jones, which is a
Yes.
great movie,
Oh, I hate that.
but
I love.
everybody thinks that's how poetry is though. It's like this. I'm gonna play. Hey, hey. You know what I'm saying? They think it's that. They think
No,
that's exactly what
I
it
get
is.
when I tell people that I'm a poet, I always get like they always do like the exaggerated slam,
Right,
like they
right,
like so you be
right,
like the sun, the sun, the sun,
right, 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 right.
like nah,
Exactly.
I got bars.
You do. I've heard you before. I've seen you on God, I want to say it was Miss Carter's IG, I believe.
It might have been
I think it was
Mother the
Mother.
creator.
That's who it was. Yeah, you came on there, and when I saw it, and then you kind of sent me the invite. I'm like, whoa, that's her. So okay, let's go, man. I'm yeah, I was honored, man. That was yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody
man.
said the cookie cutter poets.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So,
man.
aside from you doing your poetry, you also are into like fitness, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like I made sure I was dressing baggy because I didn't want you to see where all these quarantine snacks went. So I'm a little ashamed, but like tell me, how were you able to survive, like maintain your fitness and your health through this pandemic and this quarantine when like you couldn't go to the gym and you know because it was crazy in Atlanta too. It wasn't just out here in New York.
Right,
You guys were locked down
right.
for a while as well. So how were you able to like maintain your fitness, your routine?
Um, for a little while, I did a Saturday morning sweat session on Facebook. So I
Oh,
was doing that like every Saturday for like a month, maybe month and a half. I did a little. It was nothing that was super intense, but it was enough for people who had that were kind of beginners, and even some of your people who uh, figured they were, hey, I'm on a different level. I'm on that next level, bruh. Even for them, just to keep the body in motion. Yeah, just to
yes,
keep the body in motion, and just try to maintain a little bit on my eating, not to eat crazy, not to get out and do crazy stuff. So I was still able to walk within my subdivision, So
not me. I
you
was
know,
like,
no,
I,
nah.
snacks. Where's like
Yeah.
every hour, snack. It was terrible. Um, but I'm glad that you were able to maintain that. What are you sipping on? What does a gentleman like Beau Ward choose for his beverage?
Cognac.
Cognac.
That's the gentleman's drink. Is cognac. Yeah.
I'm more of a whiskey girl. I can't do
Nothing wrong with that.
the vodka and the tequila though. No, no, no.
Well, see, you a few years younger than I am. When I was younger, I was doing the whiskey, man. I was like Jack Daniels. Give me
Yes,
the Jack all day
Jameson.
long, man. Give me Jack, man. I don't care about none of that other stuff. Give me Jack, And I grew up from that, and I'm like, man, nothing wrong with Jack, but let me do a little, I'm the classic dude. I want to be
Cognac.
beautiful. Yeah, I want to be beautiful soul cafe. So, let me be the beautiful poet too. So I need to do some cognac. That just sounds
Yes.
smoother. than
I remember
whiskey,
when I
you
first
know.
came across you. I was introduced to you. Oh, I was taught. Someone told me about your page, but they called you Bo
Ah, cool,
the
cool.
beautiful poet. That's what I
All
remember.
right, all right. Some people knock me for that, man. I think when I go to some open mics where people don't know me and they hear that name, the beautiful poet, and they see me, I think people kind of like, I don't really want to hear this dude. So I
Yeah,
kind of get that, from the start. So uh, that name itself, I think sometimes people don't really get it. I'm just a
yeah.
confident person. I'm a confident dude. I mean,
As you
it
should
is what it is.
be. What?
If you
Come on. You
if you
fit.
like it,
You a good writer. You a gentleman. You won like you used to slam too, right? Were you like into slam poetry?
no, I never did that.
No.
No.
Why? Okay, I'm not a slam competitor, but I've hosted slams. So like, what is it?
Okay.
What? Why don't you
Ah,
like slam?
I don't do it myself. No, I love to go and
Yeah,
hear people slam. I love it. I love to hear slam poetry, but I don't do it myself. Um, I think say, I think slam is for people in a certain lane. In a
yeah,
certain lane of poetry. If that's what you do, that's I'm cool with that. Doing slam poetry kind of reminds me when I started wanting to be a rapper.
like battle rap, like freestyle
And
battle.
people will call you
Yeah,
out. People, if they knew you were a rapper in school at lunchtime, be you better be ready. Have whoever it is your beatboxer is next to you. So if y'all walking, you get called out. And at the drop of a dime, you had to go at it, and it couldn't be anything prepared because most people knew if it was something prepared
yeah. It
because
had to be
it was kind of like a Jonan session, right?
yeah.
You had to pick out whatever this person had on wrong, if their hair wasn't combed that day, if they weren't matched. So you had to be able to be, quick with it and be like, okay, I got okay. So
You
you
know,
never wanted to really go first though.
I could imagine like in a small town like you, like where you grew up, like everybody knew everybody's business. So you probably had like a lot of arsenal to like
Right.
come off on somebody.
Right. Because you knew everybody's family. Even if you were not a bum, if somebody in your family was a bum, that person would get exposed right there in that circle. Keep your mouth closed
Damn.
unless you want your family to get exposed now. Yeah, I know. Don't do it.
You
Do not
ever
do it, man.
you
Yeah.
ever walk away to feeling defeated at a back in your rap battle days?
No, no, man. I do my thing. If I felt like I try not to go. I was one of those people that didn't really want to go first. But if I knew it was somebody I could just get him, and if I could take your heart from you, okay, let me go first. So I'm gonna go first, and then when I'm done, right? When I'm done, I'll just tap my guy, and we leave the circle. Now you left in the circle by yourself. So when you leave, if I leave you in the circle, everybody's like, oh, even back then, people were doing that.
Down.
Oh, I just leave. So, and they be like, hey, come back. I throw the peace sign up. I'm gone. I'm out. There's nothing else for me to say. What is he going to say to me now? Nothing. I'm good. I'm good. I'm out, man.
I love it. I love it. Before we keep digging into this amazing world, I definitely want to keep digging into your books and your poetry as well. But we're going to take a quick 30-second break so we can have a word from one of our awesome sponsors. So we'll be right back.
Bada, I rip every day, make it look so easy.
From the artist that brought you the debut solo album Gemini comes a new EP. Jay Bada presents his sophomore solo project titled Indian Summer, The Prologue. Written and produced during one of the most unique and impactful years of our existence, 2020. Check out this EP full of good intentions, positive lyrics, and a unique flow. Listen from your favorite streaming platform today. For more music from Jay Bada, follow him on IG at JBadaMusic.
Yay! Big shout out to our friend Jay Bada. He's a friend of the show. He's a dope lyricist, producer, makes his own beats, all that good stuff. So big shout out. Thank you for sponsoring today's episode. So your poetry. Now you have two poetry books, but then you have like this motivational book. What made you steer off of that path of poetry that made you kind of put a book out that's not poetry?
You know, as a personal trainer, uh, I'm motivating every day, and when I do it, I'll talk a lot of times, and especially like my younger clients, like my school students, my athletes. It's like a motivational session before we even start. It's like a 5 minute of giving them the real, giving them the business. And I had one of those athletes who now has a 4 year scholarship at a Division I school playing volleyball.
Wow.
And yeah, so she was like, she would tell her mom, "Hey, why is Mr. Bo not a Is Mr. Bo a motivational speaker? Mom, why is Mr. Bo not a motivational speaker? Why is he not doing?" So I put the book together because a lot of times people will look at themselves in the mirror
Mm-hmm.
and they won't see just how beautiful they are because they don't look at everything about themselves. They look at what other people see or what um, they hear other people say about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to let them know through this book that regardless of what someone says about you, regardless of how people say you look, and BMW, they say is the ultimate driving machine.
Yeah.
But we, human beings, are the ultimate performance machine. There's nothing else. Everything else you think, when you think about it, a car is a replica of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has that same thing. Like if you take a washer and dryer, if you take a refrigerator, whatever you take, everything has those same things. The wires represent veins. The motor represents the heart. Everything has that same thing. Computers have the same thing. Everything is built off of what the human body is. So how can you not love yourself when everything that is made after you is made in a respect for you, you know? And I just want people to always look at themselves and say, I'm beautiful. Regardless of what you think, I'm still beautiful. I don't care what you say, I'm good with it. You know, I'm cool with being this person right here. You know, even the ugly about you makes you beautiful though. Everything about you makes you beautiful.
How
The
are you able
country
to
makes
get there? How are you able to get there? Because a lot of times it's hard to kind of have like that self awareness and that self acceptance, you know? So how were you able to find that in yourself?
I okay, I think my wife is watching, so I hope she doesn't slap me after this is over, right? So always been like that guy. I've people have always thought that I was an attractive dude. So I've never had that um, thing where I shouldn't have that confidence in myself.
Yeah.
When I played sports, I was always like that guy. You know, I was
Yeah.
never the last person picked. Even when I played organized sports, I was never the guy nobody wanted on their team. You know, I was the guy that um, coaches used to. This is during rec season. Coaches would come to my dad's house
Hmm.
and say, "Hey, you don't really need to coach, but I just need you to say you're coaching so I can get your son on my team."
What?
That's the kind of stuff they would do.
Wow.
And football, you know, when I played football, I was on the field
Well,
and I had a
football
coach
is
that was,
big down south, so
oh yeah, but you know, I was a my first love is baseball though.
really.
Yeah, my family is baseball deep, man. My dad, my brother, my sisters play softball. We were baseball deep in there, man. In that house, yeah, we were baseball deep. That
Wow.
was yeah, that was the thing. I was probably I think my brother played a little football, but I was probably the only one that really did the football thing real strong. But and basketball, baseball and basketball, that was our thing, man. In that
Wow.
household, Yeah, that was the deal. That was the business right there. Yeah,
I
that
get
was the
that.
business.
I mean, we grew up. My family's Puerto Rican, so baseball was like,
You better believe it, boy.
yeah.
Woo!
I think my parents met at a baseball park. Like,
I'm sure that's where they get down, boy. Puerto Rico, woo, them cats. You talking about some baseball players.
yeah,
That's where they do it. Yeah,
yes,
that's where they do it.
so true, so true. Now, like, what's next? What's brewing in your creative world? What do you bringing? What do you got for us coming up?
Man, my next step, um, probably in about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. We're gonna venture out and try to do something like a poetic and neo soul 106 in Park.
What?
Yeah, that's going.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so you're gonna have to in some of your spare time. I know your time is gonna be like ridiculous, but you are going to have to come down
Oh yeah.
and chop it up. You know what I'm saying with the beautiful poet in person.
Oh
And we're gonna
yeah.
have to put this thing. Yeah, we got to put this thing. So the roles will be reversed, right?
Listen,
Yeah, we
I'm
got to
here for
reverse.
it.
Yeah, we got to reverse some things, man.
Yes,
Yeah, so that's
I'm down.
that's what we that's what's coming.
I had such a great time in Atlanta too when I was out there in August, and I got to meet so many. Like you mentioned, a whole bunch of people that were on the show.
Indeed.
Some of those episodes haven't been released. I'm not gonna say the names, but you know, I had such a good time. Everybody was so chill, so great. And what I loved about that, sorry, my son.
Hey, you good?
What I
You good?
loved about the creative community was that y'all all shouted each other out. Like in
Right.
whether we were on camera or off camera, like everybody was always mentioning other amazing poets. You know,
Indeed.
and
Right.
I rarely had a conversation with a poet where they only talked about themselves. And I found
Right.
that really, really dope about almost everybody that was on the show talked about other people and how they influenced them or how, you know, and I was just like, wow, they really just, and I was actually really proud of myself because a lot of people that were mentioned were all on the show. So I was like,
Right. Right.
I got
Right.
a graduated list. But I really, really admired that about the scene out there. But is there like a competitive aspect to the creative community out there? Because it does exist in New York. So is that something that you see out there in Atlanta, in Georgia?
Not so much. I think everybody here kind of wants to see each other win, and that's the whole thing. It's like if you in that circle and you solid, they're gonna treat you with love. Now, if you one of those people that are not solid, or they find out you're not solid, you're gonna kind of get pushed off. It's no, no real ill will. They just don't. It's just not gonna deal with you on that level. And I know you mentioned I mentioned sincere earlier, and you saying that like, oh, can you be my mentor? I think when I first started doing the open mic thing, he came and he's and I guess I can still say he is my mentor because I can call him up at any time and rap to him about a lot of things. And
Yeah.
actually, sincere helped me. I had thoughts at one point, Jay, of not even doing um, spoken word, not stop writing, but actually doing it because I would go to places and people didn't know me.
Yeah.
So a lot of spots here, people don't know you. It's a different um, acceptance. And
Yeah. I
like
mean,
I
like kind
said,
of like they're not gonna sit
like
there
who is
and
this guy?
who is that?
Right. Right. Exactly. And I'm not used to that because growing up, I've always been that guy. I've always been, he's a cool, he's okay. But when I go to a spot and everybody's like, yeah, like what the wait a minute. And then I sit down like, dang. And it made me question if I were really dope or not.
Yeah.
So then I would sit down and listen to some other people because I grew up in a time where even when it came to hip hop, you had to be a lyricist. You couldn't just have a great hook. You
Yeah.
had to have some stuff in between those hooks that
Yes.
made you be like, whoa, wait a minute. Not KRS-One just killed. Wait
Yeah.
a hold up, man. Nas just Blake. Whoa, nah. Let me rewind. Let me take that back.
Oh
And you
yeah.
had to go back and So I would listen to the next poet and I'm like, wait a minute. His stuff wasn't that much deeper than mine. Right. And then I got to the point where I thought I had to everything I had to write had to have all this wordplay and all these deep metaphors and all this. And I Sincere kind of talked to me one day. We were talking about it. He's like, nah, bro, if you reach one person. And then I don't know if you know, you should know yours truly out of Texas.
Yes.
Yours
Yeah.
truly came on my show. And he actually came by my house a couple of weeks ago.
Oh
He has
shit.
this piece. Yeah, I barbecued for
So,
him, his wife, and his daughter. And we did our thing. So he has this piece called Just Spit Poet.
mm,
And that when he said that piece, he said so much stuff without going so deep or having a whole lot of he just came direct and said, whatever you have, whatever it is you say, just spit poet. Then
yes.
there's a guy, Mabry. I don't know if you ever heard of him before. He's dope too. He played me a clip of what that guy said. He said, when you write poetry, you're not writing it for the audience, you're writing it for you. It's a
Yeah.
release for you. So when you get in front of people, it's a release for you. Now, if people say it's dope, maybe so. But as long as you feel like it's dope, don't ever be ashamed of what you said or what you left on that stage.
Yeah.
Do your thing and let it be. So those things meant a lot to me because I've only really been in spoken word like 2 years. I've only been doing
What?
spoken word itself now. Like yeah, being out in front of people, hosting, I've been doing that for like man, maybe 2 years.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's just
god.
really doing my stuff in front of people.
You're
And
natural. Were
like
you afraid of public speaking or you just wasn't into it at first?
because I didn't really know what because I was in the under the impression it was like Love Jones. So when I went somewhere, that first piece was kind of like Love Jones thing, kind of smooth. And I heard some dudes get like gutter. I'm like, what the? These is gut. These is a gutter, man. Now I'm gonna say it like I say it in the country because we speak a little different than y'all speak up
Yeah,
here
yeah, I
in
really
New
do.
York. So I was like, these is. That's how I said it. That's how these is gutter. That's how I said it. So when I said it, man, to myself, but I think everything I do, I've done a few shows in Macon here recently, and
Yeah.
now I just do it. When I do it, I do it, Jay. If it touches one person, it touches one person.
Yeah.
Um, if it doesn't touch anybody, then maybe that right person wasn't in the crowd. I did my part, and
I
that's
highly
all I can
doubt.
do.
I highly doubt that you get on stage and don't impact somebody or don't connect with at least one person in the audience. I highly doubt it because you're a phenomenal performer. You're a great writer. So I'm actually surprised that you said you've hit the stage only a few years ago because you do it like
Right,
a pro. Like I would have never guessed. And I can love and appreciate that because usually I can tell when someone's new to the game. Um,
right,
I've been,
right.
I've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now,
Okay.
and but I was one of those people where I was always nervous and scared about like, will they like this line? And I found myself constantly like revising pieces over and
Right,
over.
right.
And then finally, I was just like, wait a minute, this is not for you. This is for me. And if you
Indeed.
oh well. And I stopped trying to rhyme every poem, like because hip hop is what influenced me. So I always
right,
like sound barsy and sound like, with that rhythm, that cadence, but I let that all go and I just write and I just spit like truly yours says, like I just spit. Like
right. Yeah, I told you I heard you that night. Yeah, it was dope. I think I even commented and was like, hey, you and you never showed up though. I commented and tried to get you to come through to the Beautiful Soul Cafe, but I haven't seen you there yet.
I
So I haven't
haven't.
seen you in the crowd yet. Yeah, I only have 2 shows left, so
All
you
right.
got 2 shows to make it. Now I don't know if you're gonna make it or not. There's no dress code. You don't have to worry about it. I'm the only one that wears a blazer, dress shirt, maybe a bow tie, ascot. I don't. Yeah, I'm the only one to do that because I'm on. I'm the center, so I'm up there all the time. Trying to look like a 2020 Billy D. Williams. Yeah, yeah, caramel shaded Sidney Poitier. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. You know what? I am guilty of, not popping into a lot of events as much as I would love to. It's really just my schedule is crazy,
Good.
and
Right.
then I have my platform. So like being in front of the camera or like even like this is like work for me, after an interview,
Right.
I'm drained and people are like, come to my open mic. And I'm like, not really focused on like being a performer.
Right.
For me, being a performer is just like a side thing. Is like the French fries, is like the side salad for me. Like for me, the meal, the entree for me is being a host and running workshops and being an entrepreneur. So that's why like I don't really by the time I'm done doing all that and being a mom, if you haven't noticed, I've been like
Understood. Right.
my 5-year-old away. Like
Right.
I'm like drained. I'm like, oh gosh, but I definitely promise I will come to your the cafe and to the Black Love series because you said you're doing the last one at the end of this month, right?
On the 29th. The
I just
29th will be the last show.
So you have poets from like all over the country that's gonna perform for this event, right?
Well, this event, I will have my VIP poets, and that will be one poet from every state in the Southeast, which is
Woo!
considered the dirty South.
That's
So
gonna
it's
be
gonna be,
fire.
well, it's gonna be some poets in there. If I can I'm gonna give the rundown if I can, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Texas is gonna be represented by yours truly. Louisiana is gonna be lyrically gifted brother. Mississippi is gonna be Sincere. Although Sincere lives in Atlanta, he was born and raised. I'm taking where they were born and raised.
Yeah, he's
He's
from
gonna Mississippi, yeah.
What?
Big Fitz is gonna represent Alabama. Red Riding Hood is going to represent Florida. Moody Black is going to represent South Carolina. I got 2 poets in North Carolina because I kind of messed up. I thought one was from South Carolina, but she's actually from North Carolina, so I had to put both of them in there. So Ray Epiphany and Lady V will represent North Carolina.
Yeah.
Kentucky will be represented by Gwen C. Arkansas will be represented by Jared King. Tennessee will be represented by Dichotomy the Poet.
Ooh.
Then of course I had to call y'all. I had to let y'all know the Dirty South. The capital of the Dirty South is Georgia. Don't nobody get it. Don't y'all get it twisted at all. So I got 2 poets from there. I got Ken Warner and the legendary, the iconic Georgia Me.
Wow.
That's the lineup. That's the VIP lineup right there. But it's going to be open enough for maybe a couple of other poets to get in if they want to get in. So I really want the room to be full, man. I want Zoom.
So if someone is interested in possibly being like an add-on, how do they do it at the show or do they
Yes. just get on Zoom. Follow me on. I know I see you have my IG up there. So
Yes.
yeah, if they check out my IG, I'm always posting it on IG. Or if they want to follow me on Facebook, I know a lot of people don't do Facebook. I'm old, man. I'm an old dude, so
Listen,
I still do Facebook,
now.
man.
We on Facebook and YouTube. It's all good.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, on Facebook, Beau Ward, BeauWard, and I posted on there, and I put the link on there. Just copy the link. Thursday at 8 p.m. Uh, October 29th. Boom. That's my last show with the Black Love Poetry Series Network. I'm leaving the actual network. But you sometimes like you and I spoke, earlier. Sometimes you have to take that step back for a second.
Yes.
And a lot of times that step back is not really a step back. It's just that moment that you have to get everything together. So that step back that we think is a step back, and even if you think about it, think about a I can't even think of the name of it. The little thing you pull it back. What is that? Boom.
A
I don't even know the name. No, not a boomerang.
Ring?
And I'm from the country. I'm supposed to know this stuff. You take a stick and you put a string on it. Slingshot. Wow. So you take a slingshot thing. See, that killed everything. I was supposed to be deep with this, and I messed up on the beginning. So you take a slingshot, right? And when you got a slingshot right here, Jay, it's just there, right? But when you pull that slingshot back, that's that step back you take it. But when you release that slingshot, whatever you have in that slingshot, it's going to catapult way past wherever that point is. So a lot of times when we take that step back, we have a chance to analyze. We have a chance to organize and put things really in perspective. So when we release whatever it is we have, that's when it catapults.
Yeah.
So me doing that is that step back for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I need to put everything right where I need it, get everything lined up where I need. So when I let go, when they let go with that, it's gonna be some crazy. Just like with you, and I know you have so much going on.
I know.
And when you get a chance to take that step back, and I know I'm not gonna expose anything, because that's a man code. You don't expose nothing that you and your people talk about. You be quiet. But know this though, when you come back, they will not be ready.
Yes.
The world won't be. They think they'll be ready, but they ain't gonna be ready though. They will not be ready for what's coming, Jay. I know it's gonna be phenomenal. Everything you've done, everything I've seen, that I followed, your JRose experience. I was so jealous, man, when I saw Sincere, and especially Sincere and Ambition on there. I'm like, hold up, man. I was sitting there like, man, I was supposed to be doing JRose, but I knew I had my thing coming up here, so I was good. I'm like, well, hey, she at least included the brother. But I was so touched though, seriously.
Of course.
When you said, like, bruh, I gotta get you on. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We do virtual. I know you didn't say it in that word, but the way the text came through, because you were not taking no for an answer. Like, I'm like, well, hey, Jay, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, can we do virtual? I'm like, well, Jay, how we gonna do? Well, we can do. I'm like, okay,
we're gonna do it. Here's the link.
I'm like, Jay is New York for real, man. Straight, yeah, bro. What the pistol whip like in Shaft? Until I say, yeah, man, this is, yeah. But that's cool, man. That was an honor.
I already knew the impact that you have on the creative community in Atlanta. And, I always gotta although I love meeting fresh new talent, but seeing someone who's been writing for a long time, who's been grinding and really putting in that work and trying to be consistent, how could I not want to make sure that there's a space for you on the platform, And
wow.
I think that that's what I'm working on so many different things so that no matter what people's situation is, there's a space somewhere. You're gonna fit somewhere. That's why I have a lot of things going on. If you can't come to Atlanta, or well, next season we're gonna be in another city. If if that doesn't work, I got virtual. I got my open mics. You can come help out with a workshop. Like just all these different ways that people can be involved and have us some time to shine. And I love that. I'm so glad you said yes. I'm sorry that I missed you for the second season. I was heartbroken. I'm not gonna lie, but I was like, health is always more important than anything.
Right.
And I was more worried about you being okay, than anything. And I'm so grateful that you were able to get through all of that, because here you are, and I'm honored to be talking with you.
Thank you. I am honored to be. Although it's still the JRose experience, because I think when I posted it the first time, I put on a JRose experience. Y'all show y'all. Can I say I can say a small curse word on here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Show y'all ass up. It's the JRose experience. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Trust me, I've said way worse on it, so don't worry.
Got you.
I definitely have that New York sailor mouth. But we're not gonna get into that. Before we say goodnight to everybody that's tuning in, I want to ask you for one last gem, one final thought, something that you want the audience to walk away with. Drop a little knowledge for them.
Oh man, that's so crazy. I posted something yesterday, and it has to do with life, and I'm not going to get deep into the whole thing, but it says if your connections have no benefits, then they've never been a fit. So understand that. Make sure your connections have some type of benefit, because if they're not benefiting you, they're really just a waste of time. They've never benefit. And sometimes we get caught up in trying to make things fit that don't fit. That's like trying to take a square and put it inside of a circle, or take a circle, put it inside a square. It's not going to work.
No.
So if there's no benefit to you, find what fits, and I promise you it'll work. So yeah.
There you go. Spoken like a true wise man. Ain't that the truth? Make sure that your connections are aligned with your purpose. I'm a big believer of that. Anything I do, anybody that I even like collaborations with people, I've had to say no to people because what they want out of it just not in line with what I want. So I have to say no. As good as the opportunity may seem, I step away. It doesn't make sense for me. So make sure that your connections serve some type of purpose for you, and in a positive way. I love it. Bo, please, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but please tell the audience where they can find you on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or wherever it is that you want people to find you and your work.
Got you. Definitely find me on Facebook at Bo Ward. That's BeauWard. Instagram, I think my Instagram is scrolling down at the bottom. It is at BoBelvy07. You can find me the next 2 Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, inside the Beautiful Soul Cafe. So if you go on Facebook or IG and you find me there, I'm always posting my events. So you'll see the events. Come through if you are a poet, if you're a neo-soul singer, if you're a comedian. Come through, man, get on the mic and kill it. I love it when people come through and kill it. I got artists from all over the world, man. UK, Brazil, Nigeria, Ghana, all them people are coming through. So come through and show your boy some love on the last 2 shows. JRose. My bad. Not my bad. That's everybody. But no, JRose for sure.
After my show,
even if you don't,
I'm gonna come.
Even if you don't spit, Jay, I know you're busy. Even if you don't spit, if you just come through, so I can at least acknowledge you because I love acknowledging people
I
who
appreciate
show
that.
me love. You know what I'm saying? When you show me love, I gotta give it back. So,
I'll,
you
def-
know, if you come through
I'll spit
and
for you
then post
too,
your
bro.
stuff.
I'll spit for you
Oh,
too.
that's cool. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then just put your stuff on the screen in the comments. So
Yeah.
when I see it, I make sure I say, hey, I got my little sis. And you know, hey, she Puerto Rican, but she's still my little sis. She came through, man, to see me. And y'all go follow it. And I'll let people know and you get a chance to tell people how they can follow you because I want you to win. I
Oh,
want you to win. Yeah, I
well,
want you to win for
I
sure.
appreciate that. I'll definitely be there after my What You Say Poet next week. I'm gonna pop in for sure. I don't be shy. You could definitely remind me and send me the flyer because now that I put it in my schedule. I literally like live by my schedule, but we're not gonna talk about that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you both so much for giving me your time, for sharing some of your stories, some of your truth. I truly appreciate it. Those of you that don't know me, I'm JRose. You can follow me on the gram at my Crumble Thoughts. But please make sure that you follow us on Facebook at the Rose Garden Events, on YouTube at the Rose Garden Events. Follow, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. The replay will be on Facebook and YouTube, and tomorrow I'll post it up on our IGTV at the Rose Garden Events. That's about it, I think. Yes, and of course, like I always say, y'all, keep growing. Peace. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.